Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are live. Finally, I feel like I'm always saying this. There's always something as to why I'm late. Give me one second. Let's go here. Okay, so first and foremost, just real quick, guys, the only way to actually have access to me right now until it goes away, right, is the Teachable link. It's teachable.donfranshow.teachable.com. I should know that. That is going away to any new users. If you do have that, don't worry, that's there. That's never going away. That just has lifetime access. That's why all that is getting shut down. And then there's the Patreon for people that just don't want lifetime access, right? Both Don Franz Show. That's it. And sorry, I have to go over this right now because there's actually a couple other sites and they've actually gotten some people's money. So just to be clear, and not to hit you with the it's an expiring coupon code. No, it's literally going away. Right now it's just still up. Anyway, so Patreon or Teachable. If it does not say Don Franz Show in Teachable or Patreon, it's just not me. Please don't send him any money because I don't know who you're sending money to. I will say the fake me seems pretty legit. I mean, he does make 90 grand a day. That's just shy of my PR, but he does that every day. Yeah, he might be someone to check out. But I can't speak to where your money's going or what will happen to your money if you do that. So anyway, let's get. Can you repeat that, Don? I can edit that if you're not getting your own website down. Wait, what? It's the. Oh, I have no idea. I always mix up the Teachable thing. You don't have to worry about editing that. I just had a quick little announcement because that's why I'm late right now. Is literally dealing with that. Anyway. Technician says, please read my entire question and nightly breakdown before breaking down. You'll thank me later, which tells me I'm probably going to lose my mind. Technician, do you mind if I do that right here on YouTube or do we have to do that on Zoom? All right, let's jump into the normal live streams. Welcome back. What's up? The US dollar. I don't know if you guys heard. Junk. Horrible. Garbage. Going to zero. Hopefully. Or maybe, just a lot less. Let's go to the 50 mark right now. We're sitting at right at the 100.732. What does that mean to you? Nothing. But as this goes down, technically your savings account is worth less. I know that dollar amount still says the same, but right now, what I was nervous about was a bounce at this yellow zone. And we kind of, because last time we hit here and then just kind of really, I can zoom in for the mobile users. We really did bounce, and I was like, man, that made me nervous. Plus, last week we got a surprise 50 basis points. I was really settled into the 0.25 camp, and I told you guys, like, I'm gonna have to stick to my guns. I will say, like, the day before, I was like, man, maybe I ended up calling it like 60-40, like still 60% chance, 25 basis points. We didn't come up with 50, which I thought would have been more of a surprise for the dollar. And I would have thought the dollar would have been down a little bit more on that news. But here's the news break right here. We just got some wicks all around. Still gonna watch this area. I have added back into my US dollar Japanese yen short, but ultimately I'm kind of headed for anyone that's like day trading the US dollar right now. I would watch out for this area right here. As far as this, I'm in a short right now, and I don't know if the market makers are new. I don't know what's going on. The last couple of weeks we've been outside of standard deviation, and they're not following my lines. I drew them an arrow. I mean, I basically got out the crayons and said, it's this way. But someone's not listening. So someone's going to have to get fired. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, what's up? Do we need to have an offline discussion? Is that what's up? I drew you a line. Make it happen. Anyway. Let's check. The green zone is a monthly zone. So technically right now, all we're doing is holding that. We still have 7 days left for this zone. Ultimately, I do want this to break. I hate this monthly chart. Who's got that kind of time? Me. I'm going to be in this for some time. I do ultimately, if you guys are just tuning in for some reason, I want to be short all the way down to, I'm probably thinking this 110 area. It's not even zoned out. It's just kind of a median area, 110. Forex is a sideways market. We've spent a lot of time right inside there. That's when I tell you guys, like, I want to make $1 million off this trade. Getting it to there would get me there. Um, we just needed to get there. Now, if it goes any further, there's a good to fair chance we'll just have to see how the Wi-Fi is doing on my yacht. Not because I want to live that mobile lifestyle, but I'm just gonna go park in the middle of nowhere, and we're just gonna call it a day for a bit until the people stop peopling back here in the United States. Ultimately, that's where I'm looking for things to go. Still in the trend down, a pop up, whatever. Uh, we just want to keep the trend down. Dollar gets below 99.50, then the bottom will fall out. Huh, come on with it. 99.50. Let's where's that put you at? Right here. So using that as like an old support. I still got to worry about this weekly zone. I think if this weekly zone breaks right here, now this is the 98.50, just over 99, then I think it's gonna be a pretty not a mad dash south, but it's gone. I think so. Which is why I'm just gonna stay short this thing. All right. So as far as Bitcoin goes, I did have to. I told you guys I made a bet with my admins that if it broke this blue, either one of these blue before elections, I would have to pay. I would buy them Chipotle, and Chipotle got my money because one, yeah, I had to pay out on the bet, and then I got the picture of that Chipotle, so I had to go buy it for myself. It's amazing. But anyway, guys, I really thought Bitcoin was just, and I still do. I don't care. We got above this blue. I don't know if there's any exciting things for Bitcoin, and that's why I'm just kind of stuck with that right now. Uh, I don't care that we went from I said it wasn't going to get above 62.5. We're at 63.5. Bitcoin could literally cover that in the next before I finish this sentence. Um, um, so as far as anything actionable, anything you can trade off of that, I don't think I would. I really don't. That song goes back quite a bit. Um, mm, I don't think we'll have any catalyst, and I'm not too sold on the fact that everyone's just going to start tossing a bunch of disposable income back into Bitcoin. Um, that's why. It's kind of like people have this talk with me with real estate right now. This is actually why this is live on Don Fran Show as well. We're gonna get some AI tickers too. Anyway, real estate. Like, would you buy $1 million house right now? That was the question. I don't think anybody is. Uh, like unless you specifically need to move, you're not going out there and buying just unless every home in your neighborhood is $1 million house. You're just not spending that kind of money yet. Now with the elections right around the corner and a lot of just what seems like a lot of uncertainty. Um, I just don't think anyone's going to be parking any serious amount of money. I think the stock market is going to grind up. It's going to do its thing, but I don't think there's going to be any real mad rushes into anything. Even Steve says here, thinking after the elections before big moves up on anything. And that's kind of where I'm at. I can see some of the Mag 7. I can see them maybe maybe an outlier to that statement. Bitcoin, some of the other stuff, I just kind of think we're going to see some up days, we're going to see some down days. So this is certainly, if you don't want to look foolish, don't go posting a Bitcoin chart on Facebook because you're going to look like an idiot a couple days later. So this happens every time. It'll get to here, it'll probably get to this yellow zone. You start seeing a bunch of people post about it on Facebook, and then the next day it's going to be red. So I would go into that with about zero expectations. All right, going on to the S&P. I gotta say right now, I do think this week is choppy but up. I think it's tech. I can understand tech might be a different conversation. I kind of think tech is we could pull back as far as S&P goes. Why is this indicator on? Hang on. We rallied up. We based. We really. I think we. Typically I'll look for these ranges, right? We have this wick high right here, and then this wick low. And I'll really zoom in case you're watching on a phone. We have this going on right now. So typically when I see a range established like that, we know there's a game of tug of war being played. The sellers are here, the buyers are here. Let's see where this goes. This zone is really faded out because somebody asked me to zone out the S&P, and we were right here. That's we were here. One of these. That's all the data we had, which is why I don't know if that's really a zone yet. Price action wise, that's what I think we only had these two candles, as a matter of fact. Because I specifically was talking about this wick down and this wick up. there's your game of tug of war going on right now. Uh, the more we push into this, the more we'll exhaust the sellers, and it does just kind of get our next grind up. Um, um, we had a green open so far. I don't know if we have any excuses for any news. Hey, look at that! It switched everything up. Usually on this software, if I switch tabs, it has to switch everything. What do we got this week? Today's the 22nd. So tomorrow we have Bostic speech, whatever. We have PMI, so we got some letters this week. Tuesday. So real quick, we're gonna go over these Fed speeches. Uh, you know, those it's funny how if the market doesn't move, it won't mean anything. But if the market does move, it'll be because that Fed person was speaking. So I really take that with a grain of salt, regardless. The better excuse to move any volume around will be PMI. New home sales won't be much. GDP, jobless claims, we have that every week. Powell speech, Powell on Thursday, so we'll have some fireworks there, and PC on Friday. So we have some excuses to move things around this week. I don't think I would be real capital intensive this week. I would probably keep things light. And when you're at all time highs, it's one of those things when you're at all time highs, literally almost every day or every other day, it's gonna be new all time high headlines. Stock market hits new all time highs. And then they blame the president. The president doesn't have anything to do with any of this. Uh, Sorry, we shouldn't talk about politics. Everyone gives every president way too much credit. But I think with every up move, we're going to see almost just as much down. I just wouldn't be surprised either way. This does look like, kind of bull flaggish. At least a rally and a base, right? We hit that new high. We hit that, news headline. Tried to sell off, and everyone was like, no. We're just going to keep on keeping on. Just keep buying. So for now, I gotta say it'd be really hard to have a bearish argument right now. Going into elections, they don't want the market freaking out. The last thing they want to do is be pandering to voters about something else, and then the market just goes to crap, because they want to they don't need that on their plate right now. So they're just going to probably, and this might be tinfoil hat a little bit, but they're probably just going to keep the stock market on a fresh case, I guess. So Cody says, I'm cool with sideways, so I can just make free money. We call that free internet money in my group. Because we do sell a lot of options, and any option seller, option sellers make a lot of money when it's sideways or even just grinding up. Grinding down a little bit doesn't even matter, as long as there's no explosive moves up. Because we sell in the group, we sell a lot of out of the money stuff. So we can go up and go down and go sideways as long as it doesn't really exceed moves. Then you just make free money. So when it goes sideways and no bells are going off, nothing. That is just free internet money for sure. As far as the NASDAQ goes, I did draw these out. Hang on, we're gonna get rid of some of these lines real quick. I was just scribbling these out because going over something at a lunch meeting, talking about just different scenarios. I kind of think we're going to be on this. This is going to be our path right here. I think sideways, and then we're going to grind that thing up with wicks going up and down. We could hit this zone. Then if we do hit and bounce right back up, I think we just chop around and then we send it into that one. What would be cool is if this pattern right here pans out. Again, I'm going to delete these right now, so I'm not going to say I called it later. But if we get to this yellow zone, off any news, whatever, that's where I will probably be buying the dip. On Don Franz show, I just talk a lot about AI stuff, and right now I'm going to start accumulating a lot of those shares. So I am going to buy more Meta, Nvidia, Tesla. I've thought I had enough Amazon and Google, and Microsoft. Microsoft kind of takes quite a bit of capital. I do like to buy in batches of hundreds, just so I can sell options. Anytime I buy hundreds of shares, something I just sell options contracts against it. This is in my investment account. So ears perking up. I'm gonna like it if we hit this yellow zone right here. And that's kind of the price action I would expect us to bounce. Or what I would expect to happen if we did hit that. Realistically, we'll probably see a blend of these two scenarios. You'll think we're doing good, and we'll spike down to here, then come back up. So it might not be quite as picture perfect, but that's kind of how I expect this week to go for tech. But it would be cool if that thing could just melt down for a little bit. If someone could just say something bad about tech, that'd be phenomenal. I am going to go over the expected moves real quick. Let's just talk about the Russell. The Russell, I guess I would just take a zone play right now. If I was trading futures, it'd be this right here. I'd go long and put my stop below that red wick, and I would just play the uptrend, and that's kind of it. Let's check out financials real quick. Financials look like they might be stepping up. That does look bullish. So Bank of America might be a decent. I would have much rather bought in this zone. If I was going to buy Bank of America, if I was in any financials, a couple people have asked about this. I would hang on. Just because there's no box in there doesn't mean anything. By the way, if you ever see two white lines, just assume yellow zone. I will never do that for a weekly zone or an hourly speed bump zone. Remember, weekly is that pink or purple, whatever you want to call it. Hourly is that speed bump, that's blue. Just two lines like this, yellow zone all day, every day. How I would manage my risk if I was buying Bank of America, I would put my stop at. Ooh, man, that's kind of close. I like the 35 cent or the 85 cent mark, but 38.85 puts you way down here. 39.35 puts you just outside the zone. I'd have to. That's just where I'd be, and that just comes from experience. That's why you'll hear me say my stops are there. It's just from a long time of like I'd put my stops on the dollar, they'd tag out. I moved it to 95 cents, got a little bit better, still tagged out right and turned around. 90 cents. Hey, we're getting a little bit better, still not to my liking. 85 cents. And I would avoid stops. They would come down wick at that psychological level, send it, and I would still be in the play. So then you got like the cheaper tickers. Now I kind of worry about the dollar and the 50 cent level, which is why I bring it down. JP Morgan, Bank of America look better. Overall chart though, JP Morgan looks a lot better. If I were buying this, my stop would be 206.35. And your zone for that is actually right. God forbid we have it. I don't know what's up with TradingView. Why does it not work sometimes? Like I just want to hit Alt H and then have my lines pop up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're actually. Hang on. So right here is going to be your zone for that. So focus on this right here real quick. A lot of people say like, oh, how do you mark these zones out? And guys, I'm not kidding. This is not a push to join my group. If I could just make that one super video and you have it, that would be it. And then I would just have to not answer as many questions. But look for your buyers and sellers. Notice I did not say look at the news and check all your subscriptions and make sure you're the first one up. Oh, get up at 2 a.m. Don't forget to make your bed. Don't drink that coffee. All the things the rich people say to do. Anyway, it's none of that. Watch for the buyers and sellers. This is where they're voting with their money. This is how things are moving. So a lot of people will just grab consolidated candles because they'll watch one video of mine and think they got it figured out. And then they don't make money because they don't have it figured out. They're thinking, that looks like a zone right there. In fact, this is your zone. Here's where your sellers are. Here's where they showed up. Here's where your buyers held that up right down here. And you'll notice a lot of these times, they're the same over and over again. This would be a kind of like a speed bump zone. Like, we're kind of getting close to this. But anyway, I just wanted to focus on that part right there because I think a lot of people, I used to do homework assignments in my group, which I know some people think is weird. But I would give it a blank chart and we'll all zone it. They zone it out first, submit it, and then I zone it out. And I don't want to call it the answer key, but oftentimes they would grab these and I would grab this, and then we'd see it in the future price action. There's your rally-based rally. There's where we bounced. Here's where we are right now. And we even have wicks to both sides. Here's your sellers. Here's your buyers. Still that area of attention right there. So, yeah, I'd put that sucks. If I was going to trade JP Morgan, I would buy right here. I would add on right here. And then I would stop out at 206.35. Now, notice I did not say I'm going to buy right here, and then when I'm down, I'm going to try to average down to get my price down. Again, that's silly. If you've ever done that, that's why you're not profitable. You don't have to tell me you're not profitable because I already know. So I'm going to risk $2,000 on this trade, for example. So I'm going to buy this, and my stop's going to be right here. And I'm going to fit however many shares I can. That's what we'll call $5 a share. So I'm going to fit as many as I can to risk $1,000. And then I'm going to do another one right here, risking $1,000, as many shares as I can, which you'll notice will be a lot more shares because my stop's right around the corner. And that's how I would do it. If it does just break up and out, bing, bang, boom, I'll just trail it. We'll be on the gain train. If it does drop down, I do buy more. But there's no way I'm going to rock 1,000 shares up and 2,000 shares down, or 1,000 down. And let's just explode that into even more. And then, because that's the fastest way to give up most of your money. Just don't do that. I don't know how to, I don't know if I can make it any simpler. When do I think the bull market flips? If we're going to have the conversation, it's going to be next year. I said that at the beginning of this year, and then we had this situation happen. This correction right here. I think that let a little bit of the pressure out right here. At this time right here, I was telling you guys Q1 of next year, things are going to get rough. I think we let a little bit of the pressure out, but I'm kind of back on to the Q1, but maybe it's not a sledgehammer to the back of the head kind of thing. But I would say let's see what happens Q1 of next year. But I'm very cautious when I talk about that. I got an amazing track record because I've literally called out every time I talked about a crash, it has happened. I'll put it that way. So I don't like to just talk about it and then coincidentally be right. The interns need a dip buy. Let's do the expected moves real quick. I did do those already. Jude says Palantir stock. Yeah. What about it? Palantir. I can tell you right now, as far as Palantir goes, we got an expected move of 207. I'm going to get that off screen so I can just jot these all down. All right. So what we do last week? Stayed right inside the expected moves. Let's bring that back up. We good? Okay. Go to the daily. All lined up. We are good. So we are I'm going to put these values in. I already have this is something I already did off camera. So we are rock and rolling. IWM. So look, we went from a $7 move to $4.70. Now we're slowing things back down. QQQ went from 11.11 to 9.33. I think this week is again choppy. I think we'll probably end closer to the upper end of the expected move, but that's probably going to be it. I wouldn't expect any fireworks. And if there are any fireworks, I would expect spikes, not fireworks. Spikes. So it's a trend up, right? Until it comes back down and then it creates that spike. So that's what I mean by that. Like if it shoots up, I don't know if I'm just going right into puts. But that would be the thought process is, what puts can I grab at this price where I keep risk managed? Anyway, that's my mindset there. Amazon 515. Apple 60. Who's got the new Apple? How do you like the new 18? I'm getting used to it. I don't like when they mess everything up. Like I feel like they messed it when they changed like everything around. I don't know. 0.38. Palantir. We're expecting 207. Ooh, so the 23rd was the all-in date for the S&P. So we are going to talk about Palantir, as a matter of fact. You know how many times I had to do a double take? Because the expected move for Palantir is 207. Intel was 206. And I'm going through the options chain looking at this. I typed them both in and hit enter multiple times just to make sure like I'm pulling the right data, not just typing the same thing for the same ticker. Thought I was having a stroke. Just thought you guys should know that. Then we got AMD 722 for the expected moves. All right. Let's line. That's what these giant dashed lines are. It's just one standard deviation right here. I bet. Again, so if we stay inside this but grind our way up, that puts us right at the 576 mark. I think that's if you're bullish, it's please and thank yous. I don't know what's the word for that. If we got that far, I would say you're doing good. My expectations are just not. I think this is going to be ultimately, we talked about earlier, an option seller's week. If you as long as you didn't sell anything at the money, I think you're going to be all right. Come on, I need that right there. All right. Meta absolutely sending it. Now, I did sell as far as Meta goes, I did sell some 570 calls. So, I'm hoping I'm right. Meta is my number one position in my investment account, but at the same time, I just think that's a little bit up. So I went ahead and went a little bit more aggressive and sold the 570 calls on that, and I will take that money, and then that's what I use to buy more. That's how my investment account grows, right? It's just a giant snowball. But I'm telling you right now, if you are brand new and you just don't have that snowball started, or maybe you do, but it just seems like it's taking forever. I promise, it seems like it takes forever until it doesn't, and then this thing needs to slow down. The stock market needs to take a day off, kind of thing. It does happen, but not if you spend your money or try to get there ahead of time and think you're going to cheat the system. That's just the fastest way to. It will be one step forward and 15 back. Just save that for the casino. The casino's got flashing lights, drinks. You can go with your friends. It's more than two colors. There's a lot of things you can do at the casino that I think a lot of people try to do in stocks, and that's well, the outcomes are very similar. Come on, I just need this. I just need this line. Thank you. Before I absolutely lose it. There we go. Drop by and say Intel to 40. That is an Intel employee saying that. So if Intel does not go to 40, just kidding, we're not going to do anything. Jokingly, I would say something, but um, not in this time and place. Vinay, it better, or I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to your boss. Don't think I forgot about all the times Intel did absolutely nothing. Okay, this doesn't mean Intel and I are on good terms. It just means, first of all, can we talk about the scam artist that was Intel? I had 22 strike calls sold on Intel. Let's do one more real quick. I'm gonna talk about Intel. And if you're following the group, so if you're following any of my plays, I post all my plays, like ins and outs and everything like that. So you know exactly what this feels like. So I bought a 23, 22, 20, 20 strike call. That's what it was. A 20 strike call for March down here. Now that 20 strike call is up. We're doing good. And my group is like, hey, you going to sell a call against that? You going to sell a call against that? It's called poor man's covered call, or it's what some people call it. It's actually called a calendar spread. But anyway, you essentially use your contract as your collateral to collect rent like we would 100 shares. There's just multiple times like I want to wait for it to get to the zone, gotta wait for it to get to the zone, and then it does a little bit, and then it pulls back. So we sell a contract. That contract was the 22 strike call, and it's worth nothing. It is this much. I mean, absolute nothing. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna let it go. We're gonna collect all the money on it, and that's it. And then they released this news about you probably, if you're following Intel, then you know the news. It was pretty bullish. The questionable part, I wonder if this actually says it right here. Who was it with? Is it Broadcom? A multi-billion-dollar investment. Apollo reportedly offers Intel a multi-billion-dollar investment. They don't do that after hours. They did it like that. Looks like Roaring Kitty tweeting something right there. Like the timing of that was very, very interesting. I was like, had they just waited till Friday after hours to do that, I would have collected 100% on that, which we had to roll. We still collected money, but would have been 100% play, then shot the options contract up, and then it would have sold against it again. It went from absolutely perfect, the hat trick, to these garbage mother killing me. They said AI. Yeah, exactly. They came out and said, hey, by the way, we're going to do some of this AI stuff everyone else is talking about. Qualcomm will not be offering what Intel wants. I would not be buying into this pop. See, the only thing you're doing is just feeding into my brain right now, because the way this got structured or talked about and the timing of it seems a lot more like we could do this investment, or we could just let this news slip and we're going to make a bunch of money on the side and everyone just does their own thing. Um, but anyways, as far as that goes, good news for Intel. Hopefully it continues up. But right now, Intel to 40. Um, that's kind of like when people were like AMC to 100,000. All right. Again, let's talk about this again. Milestones, right? Let's just start. Let's just cross that first little lily pad, before we start talking about the other side of the pond. We need to get above 25 first before we go to 40. I would say gets above 30. I absolutely do. I do think 40 is just probably we'll have some pit stops, but I think these are going to be much tougher zones. The 25 and the 30 are going to be much tougher to absolutely break. So back to this week, we have Palantir. The all-in date was the 23rd, so that is tomorrow for Palantir joining the S&P 500. I would expect I don't know if I expect is the word. Would not be surprised to see any selling off. This is the idea. Here's the S&P inclusion. We buy it into it, and then we sell off into them. We'll see how much of that takes place right here. But this is where, so Palantir's been on my radar, and I've been talking about it for a while. Got made fun of for buying it at $10. And just in case you guys are new here, I haven't been holding this thing all the way down to 10, all that. I bought it at 10 after the good news on earnings, because that's when it started. That's when it would look good to me. I just want to shout out on TikTok, Jeff Johnson. I think I just missed your name. Jeff Johnson just followed the live. Actually, 9 of you guys started following me, and there's 3,700 likes. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. What's YouTube at? I don't know what my thumbs are out on YouTube. Doesn't even show right now. TikTok's killing it. Anyway, I've liked Palantir for some time. But like I've talked about with Mike, when we talk about it on Don Franz Show, talking about AI, it's one of our number one, it's in our top, right, of AI plays. But I've told everybody, this is still a speculative play. Speculative in its nature, because it's not Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, right? It's looking good, but it doesn't have the time. It doesn't have the money those giants have, which is why I've been saying, like, hey, I love it, but, you don't need to be in the Kool-Aid on this. You can just like the company for what it is. And when I see a ticker like this, I think the disconnect where a lot of people lose a lot of money is they hear the potential and they just get greedy with it. So, like, I'm telling you, at $10, this thing's going to 40, and I can't remember what I actually said, but I do think it's a $40 ticker. But you hear 4 times your money, so you're all in. What I hear is I could spend 4 times as less. So it means I'm risking much less, but I'm going to make the same. I'm going to move the needle all the same. So imagine only having to fill your gas tank up a quarter, but you still get the full trip. When I'm buying speculative stuff, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm gonna dial this thing way back, because if I am right and it sends it, it's right there hanging with all the gains from all the big stuff. So anyway, we got that right. We joined the S&P 500. I think it's gonna start being more of a boring ticker now, and which to me just checks one final box. I think this is gonna be one of the number one plays to run the wheel on. So if you're looking for income, weekly income, if you are new to me, right, I talk about investing, trading, and income. There's all 3 of those are different strategies. I think a lot of people think they're investing. They like to watch investing YouTubers, but then they're worried about the news day to day, trying to get in and out. Like, that's trading, guys. And then you're trying to capitalize on some movement. And then there's income. Like, I got to pay these bills because no matter what, they keep coming every month. And no matter how much you negotiate them, they just keep coming every month. So there's income strategies that really will pay the bills while you can still trade. And Palantir, I think, is going to be one of the top ones. Right now, if you've been following like the last few shorts I have, if you're following the growth count, we have our money in NVIDIA because we're selling calls against that. That's what we're going to do with Palantir. So we will we're going to start buying Palantir. I want this to sell off, and that's why I haven't added on to it yet. For anyone asking about why have we not added on to Palantir, I'm just waiting for that. It's not necessarily a price. It's a price action thing. I just want it to get cheaper first, and then I'm going to buy more. So if it pushes to 50 and pulls back to 45, I'd rather buy it at 45 on a pullback than 37 right now and watch it go down. Again, 50 to 45, I'm buying this dip. If that ends up being from 37 to 26, I'm gonna buy the dip. That's what I'm waiting for right now. So the Palantir shares I do have, we'll ride that down, and then we're gonna add on. We're gonna get to 100 shares, and then we are gonna start selling against that. But I'm just gonna bet this right now that I think this is gonna be one of the top tickers to be running the wheel on. Second mortgage time for Palantir. I'm sure that's what somebody heard, but no. TikTok is a scam. They can like more than once. I'm just saying, if you could like more than once on YouTube, would you? Intel would still own them and all, but just better individual management. Oh, James. It, I bought in my group is where I announce all my plays, right? And I bought the 37 strike calls back when it was somewhere down here. I was like, oh, because I think we're gonna get to. I said I think we're gonna get to 40. So like, I'm gonna try to time this. If we get to 40, I buy the 37s. I'll be $3 in the money. It's gonna be great. James still has one. I sold mine. It ended up being a great because here's the S&P inclusion. One of these was what was it? November? No, it was in August. Somewhere around here. It sent it, and then I ended up just locking it in. Yeah, we have 45 shares. So as far if you're following the account, now this is the growth account. We have 45 shares now, and by we, I mean I just post everything that I do. You do what you want with that information. But if you agree with all my stuff, you probably have very similar numbers as I do. And right now I have 45 shares. So with the money we make on Nvidia selling those calls, we are going to start selling calls as well on Beto. Um, Also, the dividend from Beto, we are going to put that into Palantir, and we're going to start getting it to 100, and then we'll for sure sell calls on Nvidia and Beto, or sorry, Nvidia and Palantir. Beto, I only want to sell when it shoots up in the zone. I don't care about selling calls on Beto because if Bitcoin does shoot up and wake up one day, I don't want to have some stupid strike call sold on this because I like the dividend. If it shoots up, I don't want to be worried about management mode. So I think the market goes bear starting Q1. I think it has the opportunity in, I guess, define bear mode. Now, real quick for anybody asking that question, because a lot of people don't know the difference. There is a pullback. Technically, I guess 0 to 9% is a pullback. A correction, 10 to 19%, and a crash is 20% or more. I do think we'll get a correction Q1. Now, how fast and how long that can take is what really separates things. Because you can call that a bear market, and then if the market were to let's take Beto. Imagine this is the S&P, and we're going to get a correction at this pace. It would take all of 2025 to get a correction on that. We get some news, some excitement, something pops up. We every year kind of has its own theme. You know, we went from pot stocks to EVs to the feds. Remember, CPI used to never be a thing. All of a sudden now CPI is a thing. Every year kind of has its own excuse and its own theme. I'm sure we'll come up with another one next year. And then we might just drive this thing down. It'll just be a better dip buy. That closing selling volume when the market closed on Friday on Palantir. I sold all my Palantir on Friday. Gonna wait to get more. Okay, let me bring Palantir back up. So a lot of selling volume, you think, at the end of the day? A lot. Super lot. I'm just kidding. Aside from the comment of the closing selling volume, I don't think that was a bad play. I think, and I absolutely hate saying this, historically, once we're kind of in the S&P, things will pull back. But before we start talking about things historically, let's just bring up the S&P real quick. Because what month are we in? Can you guys help me out with that? Oh, it's September. Still September, huh? At the beginning of the month, we talked about September is always red. Historically, September is red. And then I mocked it for a very specific reason. One, I'm psychic and I know what the market's going to do. But just kidding. Two, every time you think historically something's going to happen, it's probably not because now is different than before. And usually Man, we're hitting all the liners too. Like this time is different, but uh, I kind of figured this month would be green. Carp said 300 million. Oh, Carp sold 300 million. It's like 300 million. What? Cool. You know who also sold a lot of shares? Jensen Huang. He's been selling shares for a long time now. When it comes to CEOs, selling shares, they're not traders, guys. They're not doing what I do. They're not following me on TikTok thinking, when's it gonna hit that yellow box? I'm gonna lock in my options bonus. You know what they're seeing is a number, and they're thinking that looks good. I can use that money. I'm gonna lock it in. Sometimes they have to. It's contractual. There's just a lot of things that go on with that. And it's certainly not trading and price action or anything. Have you ever seen an insider trader know anything about the market? No, they never do. Unless it's like, unless it's panic later. And they're usually in court later for this too, when they dump all their shares. And then later on, they tell you, by the way, we're going bankrupt. Like that's your warning sign. But when you see a CEO selling shares, look up how many shares they have and don't think with your wallet, think with theirs. If somebody's got 158 million shares and they sold 10,000 of them, that's nothing. That's about what Jensen Huang has sold as far as shares go. So when you see insiders selling, take that with a grain of salt because the person publishing that article probably had a reason, and it was not to inform you. It was probably just to collect a paycheck. It drives clicks, right? It's emotions, and it works because people fall and they eat it out of their hands every time. Lori said, "I let my Palantir share be called away Friday. May get back in if it drops." Nice. Can I take a look at Walmart? Remember when Walmart used to be 24 hours? We had it good. It's annoying when you're up super late and like, I just need to run to the store and get something. Like, oh, wait, everything's closed. I'm glad, though. Nothing good happens at Walmart past 11 p.m. anyway. Just trending up. What do you want me to look at Walmart for? I don't say that like condescendingly. But when a ticker looks like this, what do you want to do? Play Super Trader? Get in and out for 50 cents over here? No, this is a better one. Traders make money on movement. And when it looks like this, it's Walmart, so you kind of already know what this one is. But let's say you haven't done any research at all. You just toss out a random 3 letters to me, and I have no idea what it looks. First thing I'm going to see is this. It goes from the lower left to the upper right. On screen, you have 2014 to 2024. There's a decade on screen, and it's gone sideways for a little bit, mostly up. That beats the crap out of any savings account. Does not mean it's going to continue to do this forever. But right now, it's seen some red days before. So what's it going to have to see now that's just not going to look like one of these pullbacks back here? Certainly not one I would probably all worried about trading. I like movement. Not enough movement that I'm trading like penny stocks and junk, but just any movement. So really what I would do is ask myself, if let's say I'm going to trade this, you're going to buy it here, you're going to sell it at $81. Okay, so you're looking at $2 a share. If that's all you want, how many other tickers can I buy to make $2 a share on? What was your biggest challenge when trying to become profitable? Gosh, to be honest, I didn't really have. This sucks. I didn't really have any. But we were in. So this is in 2013, 2014. We're in a record bull market. The market was very forgiving. It's kind of like asking somebody in 2021, "What was your biggest challenge?" Like, well, I didn't know what letters to buy that morning because it didn't matter what, you were just going to make money. I think the biggest challenge now for people is probably the better question. Just from what I see, is the amount of gurus, garbage, and BS that's out there, and you guys just not being able to tell the difference. When I started to learn how to trade, that's exactly what I did. Was I cut out all the garbage. I would have not have watched myself because I just wouldn't know who knows what they're talking about or who doesn't. They sound cool, got a compelling case, and I just wouldn't know that they were full of crap. And 2021 came, it made everybody right. Everybody coincidentally right. They made money, so they thought they were right, thought they were gurus. So now they're up here making YouTube money. And YouTube does pay, not me, but it like pays these other creators. If you chase the algos and do really cool stuff, you really focus on your thumbnails and titles and really drive it in, YouTube pays a lot. And so it becomes a very profitable business just it doesn't matter what you say as long as people view it, which is why you can't tell what a single video is about. Go click on anything on Meet Kevin. You're gonna see flames of thumbnail, shocked. Who knows what color his hair is gonna be? And I guarantee you, the title and that picture of the video is not gonna have anything to do with what's actually in the video. So it's just that turned into a whole wave of creators just sticking around for the YouTube income. So I think that's actually one of the biggest challenges is just people existing. Like, actually, I screenshot it the other day. Let me. Uh, here's what it was on Instagram. Let me show you how I don't want to say dumb, but silly things people can be. I know I screenshot it. I just want to read it verbatim. Okay, Twitter 2022 before Elon Musk buys it is worth 5.7 billion. Okay, 2024 after Elon Musk is now worth 670 million. Here's the reply. It has a market cap of $8.7 billion and the stock is up 29% this year. More lies. Someone says that's the cornerstone of liberal. You know what they pulled up? X. United States Steel. These people have no idea what they're talking about. And you read these comments and that guy talked about a market cap. He's using the key words. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He used market cap and percent in the same sentence. Yeah, no, absolute idiot. Just foolish. But this stuff just spreads like wildfire. And then you guys, a lot of new people come on here and think he's got a bunch of followers. He must be right. And I can tell you guys right now, accuracy has nothing to do with the subscribers. Most of the channels I know that the people actually are profitable, like I know them, they only have a couple or a few thousand followers. I can't say that for the people that have millions of followers. I really can't. Their subscriber count means nothing. It means they have a better, maybe they're more charismatic. They got the better thumbnails. It's ultimately what drew them in. X is not publicly traded. People aren't smart. Yeah, but there's a full-blown argument going on about that. That whole post is stupid. And then the comments down below are people proving their point as to why they're right. And they're all wrong. Anyway, long story short, that's what I think is the most challenging for new people today is how do you discern between what if I have no idea what I'm talking about? That would suck. If you want to know if I know what I'm talking about, here's the pitch. You can join my Patreon for, is it $5.99? Anyway, you can go to the call out section where I post everything and you can scroll up for the last 2 years and you can audit that to your little heart's content. You're going to find, I think, 4 losers. So if I don't know anything, I'm on a pretty decent lucky streak. And if I suck, well, let's say I just started losing everything tomorrow. You're out not even the cost of a cup of coffee. I've never even referenced myself to a cup of coffee, but yeah, imagine if that were to happen. Just a 2-year streak ended. 2 years since I started calling everything out, but this is actually more like an 11-year streak. But what do I think about QQQ for the foreseeable future? Hopefully up. Mostly a lot of my success is because I've been investing in not QQQ, but basically the things that move the market. The Magnificent Seven, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla are my top 3. I think we're in a tech world. I don't care what anybody says about small cap. Don't care. I think tech is. I think we're getting ready to launch some things. I think AI is going to be big. These robots are going to be big, and I don't want to sound like robots are taking over, but focus up because they're taking over. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be a lot of depression and really bad times, and then after that, it is going to be absolutely amazing. And I will fight people to the death over that. So that is also why I believe a lot of that. I look into a lot of that, which is why I have my investments are in tech, which is my only disclaimer. If you guys ever do follow me, I have a bias to tech. So when QQQ is red, I don't need to look in my investment account to know that my money went down that day. Foreseeable future, that's a very vague question. This week, slightly up, kind of grinding our way up. I do think QQQ, if you were to ask me, do you think it breaks all-time highs or this trend line first? I think it's all-time highs. I think we crack all-time highs before this blue trend line breaks. The 4 losses are from going short Tesla. No. I forgot what they were. Oh, one of them was an NVIDIA play. Yeah, it was an NVIDIA spread. The 4 losses totaled for nothing. We're up thousands. It was a couple or a few $100. I'd take it all day. IBM should check your boxes, but you never talk about it. But IBM is in my. I know some ears are perking up in my IBM. We do talk about in my group. No, so IBM I thought was dead, an absolute fossil. I mean, we are the stage of in between like wood and petrified wood. That's kind of what I thought about IBM. Started going down the AI rabbit hole. And no, IBM isn't my investment account. I bought it a while back. It's just not one that I've been trading, but it's done very well. Now, that's more coincidence as far as it being up as much as it is. This was IBM forever. It was IBM forever, and this was IBM. I was like, this thing is nothing. Pays a dividend. So as far as dividend tickers go, checks a lot of boxes. But it wasn't until somebody showed up. I gotta be careful. I know he's super conscious of it. Somebody started explaining what IBM does and everything, and then that's why I'm in it. So, is there something you want me to talk about with IBM? IBM does check a lot of boxes. Depression? No. Need pump. When there's a bunch of job loss, AI is going to come out and sweep the nation. And a lot of people just don't have jobs. Our government does not react fast to anything, literally nothing. The best case scenario, AI takes over, robots take over, and it's a rip the band-aid off event. It all happens inside 90 days. Then everyone has to react. What's probably going to happen is it's going to slowly peel away at jobs over and over again. And the people that just lost their jobs first are going to suck because there's not going to get hired. And it's going to be more and more and more and more until it eventually hits the right people. Then something gets done about it. I think during that time, I think things are going to suck for a lot of people. Middle class will go away. It'll be rich or poor. That'll be it. Hopefully you land on the rich side. But I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on AI in general. So I do think depression. I think that's going to hit a lot of people. But I do think there are people out there with morals. Like I'm going to have 10 of those Tesla robots because it's just going to be funny. Why would you? You probably only need one, but 10 is much better. And then what do I care if my robot goes out the door and folds my neighbor's laundry? I won't care at all. So I think people like that, I think it will just spill out into everywhere else. But at first, I think it's going to be, you've seen everybody. Everybody's so greedy. They try to gobble up resources and hoard it all because they think it's going to run out. You know, it's like the kid just piling up on his plate at a buffet thinking that's all the food. I think it's going to be great after that. Jerome Powell is going to say the economy is fine the entire time. I mean, that's what he does. We'll stick to the data. The data says anything different. Before I end it, I'm going to go over Google. Who brought up IBM? Because now I'm intrigued. Brad. I'm intrigued that you asked that. I mean, it's cool because coming on here, I do hear the same tickers. I break down the same stuff over and over again. I thought it was cool that you brought that up at least. Okay, you called out Goog. I do Goog L. That is because when I drink tea, I do drink it with my pinky out because I'm better than you. Just kidding. Goog L has a little bit more volume. Technically, it's got voting rights, but as a trader, anybody in options, you want to do Goog L. Right now, you're just waiting for it to hit that zone. Break this zone. We break this zone. I think we are. I got to bring that line back up. break this zone, Google might be off to the races, or at least kind of back on its trend up. And it is something I'm watching right now. As far as accumulating shares, I have enough. If it rejects here, it's going to kind of take a seat back. If it does break above this will go one step up on the totem pole as far as like where my money goes. I do want to have a little bit more, but I'm kind of waiting personally to get above this zone. Let's see. Affirm too. Okay. Thoughts on QQQ? SKDJSBHW Jaja J. I think I was just talking to your sister. That was Jaja L, right? I've gone over QQQ quite a bit. So this is actually on YouTube on Don Fran Show and Don Fran Trading. If you want to just go watch the beginning, I go over the expected moves, everything, anything you want to know about NASDAQ. And I'm only saying it now because I'm about to wrap this up. Make sure you guys are following me. Hit the follow button and then the like or subscribe. Armin, I will go over Tesla real quick. Affirm. Ooh, this is one of Meet Kevin's big ones. I think Meet Kevin may or may not be following me. There's a lot of things he says that are we'll call it a coincidence for now. Meet Kevin, why don't you ever just shout me out? Anyway. Affirm. Okay, so here's why I hesitate. So we gap into this, we send it, right? So we don't want to worry about any market movers, anybody there. We're going to hit all their stops. Gap it right to there, sends it, just vacuums it up, hit to that next zone. We find our sellers. We're playing the back and forth game. But look at the back and forth game we just played. We found some sellers, got it to here. Jumped up, found some sellers, got it to there. Gapped up, caught some sellers, like, hey, wait. It's like, we're supposed to go down. It's supposed to be a short. All they could get it for is that zone right there. That tells me we've exhausted all the sellers here. And as long as the market is in no way, shape, a shade of red, it could be gray, light green, bright green. I look at the markets as an overall indicator of buy confidence or sell confidence. If the S&P is just bright green, you could probably almost go out and buy anything. It's kind of like Bitcoin and crap coins. If Bitcoin's up, most likely your crap coin is too. No offense to anybody, but this is what they are, right? I own a few of them, but they're junk. A rising tide raises all ships, right? So that's what I mean here. This alone by itself, if the market goes sideways, will probably push up. If the market is green, then it's only going to help it out that much further. I would have to say I would be bullish this. I would be looking at this zone right here. If you asked me that last week, and I know this, like, of course, right? I would tell you we're gonna reject this zone. We're checking it again. I'm still telling you, like, wait a second. Let's see if we can't pull back this time to the blue zone. We didn't. We're hanging out here. Anytime we run into it, like this exact price action, a lot. We hit the zone, we reject. Yellow is about where I expect a rejection. We hit that again. It's just a matter of time before we kick that door off its hinges and we're off to the next zone. This particular time, if we go to a smaller time frame, you'll see kind of, you can call that maybe it broke above, retested from the top. This price action, I would not be long here or here, but I would be long here. Every one of those price points is $44.89. Difference is you bought the peak. I'm about to buy the continuation. They all carry the same risk. My stop would have been below that green. It would be $42.85 would be my stop. So I'm going to give it $2 a share. If I only want to risk $20, I would just buy 20. Sorry, my math sucks. I would buy 10 shares, and then that'd be it. But if I want to risk more than $20, then that's how I would adjust it accordingly. Jeff Johnson. Just because you followed me and I happened to catch that banner when it came up, he says CEG, Constellation Energy. Constellation, like the new moon we're going to get. Real quick, did anybody see that we're getting a new moon? Earth is getting a second moon. There's a good to fair chance that's an asteroid just coming in hot. But they're like, man, anyone with a telescope's about to see this. There's about to be widespread panic. So let's just say it's a new moon. It'll be exciting. And then, kapow. Smacks the earth. All this was for nothing. We broke this whole week. It's next week. So this week you're good. Next week, R.I.P. I do want. I don't really care about this. Anytime I'm zoning something out, I don't really care about the current action just yet. I want to make sure I have all the zones first. I'm not sure what to do with the first moon. Well, if you're an Android user, you take a picture of it every night. I think that's what people with Android phones do, right? Every time I see like the comparison of the the camera between iPhone and Android, it's a moon. Like, why don't you take that thing to a concert or something? I don't care about the craters on the moon. Take it to a concert. Show me what color the eyeliner is of the band or the drummer. Show me something cool. You want to show off your phone so bad. Don't post it on Snapchat because no one watches it. But take a cool picture that way. Show me that I can buy the nosebleed section and still watch it through my phone like some opera goggles. Here's the moon. Did you see that crater? All right. Anyway, back to Constellation Energy. Because the Apple phone can't. It can. I don't know. I don't know. I bought an Android phone. I had it for a week. I I guess you could say the camera was technically better. But how? Like it's a matter of use case scenario. It's like the microchips 1/millionth of a tenth of it faster. You're like, all right. Well, I'm not in a race for that, so that doesn't actually matter to me. And I got a picture of the moon. But I used my telescope to take a picture of the moon, so I didn't need it for that either. So that's cool. Oh, why did this blow up? This is shooting up. Constellation Energy, Li Auto, and Carvana are among top 11 large cap gainers. I don't really care about that. Island restart plan. Expects regulatory review of planned relaunch at 3 Mile Island near nuclear. Okay. So what do we do? Energy Corp engages in the generation, supply, and marketing of clean electricity and renewable energy products and solutions. Is this interest rate sensitive? I wonder if that's why, because then we announced that and then it just blasts off. Okay, I can tell you right now, chart wise, I mean, lower left to the upper right, checks that box. Doesn't look too bad. I don't necessarily like buying the peaks if I can avoid it. And right now, I don't know if that's emotion or not. We went on an absolute run, and I think the bulls right now are looking around like, "Hey, does anybody else agree? Like, are you going to sell or should I sell? Like, hey, what are you doing? Let's try to get a temperature of the room here." I would wait for a pullback or a base out because it might be a pullback like this. It might base out the whole time like this. If I was already in it and I'm just like, what do I do with all my money? I would trail it. Right now, I'd have to jump down to the hourly. I would put my stop at 246.35. Let's check about some interest rate stuff. In phase. Yeah, no. In phase is pretty interest rate sensitive. I would have thought that did better. We really do got to wrap it up. But on this note, in phase, this is a weekly zone. So right now, technically rejected, but kind of poked through. And by kind of, I mean it did. That's a wick there. On a weekly time frame, that's like how I reference this, like in my group, is you're walking on a frozen pond, right? And you're hearing cracks. Okay, that's a sign. You should probably not jump. Okay, now if I'm hearing cracks, if I'm short, that's a bit concerning. If I'm long, like there we go. Finding Nemo, he wants that thing to crack. He wants to see that water again. Once something goes parabolic, it's too late until a pullback. Yeah, you won't see me jumping in it. Microsoft and them reopening nuclear power plants. Man, that's going to be cool. I'm a big fan of nuclear. I think if we could just get that figured out, as long as it's on a coast somewhere else and I'm outside of when it melts down. Just kidding. Every time I look up nuclear power, the first thing I think of in my head is, what if that thing goes nuclear? I'm thinking mushroom cloud. What's the distance? Like how far do I need to be? But like how close can I be to see the mushroom cloud if I'm wearing sunglasses? I think that'd be cool to see in real life. But it sounds like the likelihood of that happening, I don't think is a thing anymore. but I do leave that to the nuclear scientists. I'm not one of those. Okay, Tesla. I would be surprised if Tesla did break this, but it finally did break this 230-ish area up. Kind of hit that with some vengeance. What the part that sucks is that Tesla pulled back right here. If we had the gap and go day and then another gap and go day, I probably would have been all in Tesla, because that tells me, as a trader, the cult following is here, and that cult following in Tesla will grab the pitchforks and torches and they go for a march. But we had a phenomenal day, probably shorts getting out. And then right here, so we're kind of just all there. If we could dip back down to this 232, 235-ish area, I think that would be your dip buy right now. I do think, however, it's just going to be normal Tesla. Tesla has the event October 10th. You find me one event that Tesla's had that it didn't trend up into the event and then sell off, buy the rumor, sell the news style. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to wrap it up here. This was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was an hour and a half, or an hour 5. Pretty typical. Anyway, back to what I said in the beginning. Wait, Ashley Lackland, she gave me a bear, a heart, and a rose. It is a full-blown Valentine's Day in here. I got all the things. High blood pressure and a dying plant. When are we buying leaps again? On Tesla, it'll be after the sell-off. Not even kidding. I do think there's going to be a pullback after the 10th, after the event, assuming it doesn't get extended. There's going to be some kind of pullback, as there usually is, and then that's when I am buying another leap on Tesla. Anyway, like I said in the beginning, guys, there is the Teachable. Teachable.donfranch. It's donfranchshow.teachable.com. It's in one of those orders. I don't know it because I really am taking that link down for people to even find. And then there's Patreon. I should know these things. I really should. Sorry, I suck at the sales pitch. Those are the only 2 sites you can buy things from me from, right? Teachable, Lifetime, Patreon, monthly. That's it. There's a couple other sites right now. Do not buy anything from them. I don't have any say in them. I don't have any control. I don't have anything. So one of them is a flat-out scam. Do not get that. So, anyway, that's why I was late today. There's actually a couple people that already did, and hope for the best. Like, it's out of my control. Rooting for you, but there really is. I wish I could make it clear for you guys. Anyway, if you ever did want to check that out, those are the only 2 options. If you want to send me, you can send me Bitcoin to because somebody has done this before. If you want to pay me with Bitcoin, that you have to message me personally on. There's no sites, there's no anything like that, and all I'm going to be doing is selling you a coupon code to that to go buy. Does that make sense? Anyway, make sure you talk to me personally. I don't care if you jump in the live streams and tell me. Make sure it's me. Anyway, are you saying the stocks in Dallas Cowboys I bought from you are fake? Nope, I think they're going to do great. Their rating is on their helmets, okay? Everyone knows that. Would never buy stock in them. Someone bought concert tickets today on your credit card, $800 worth? I would just request that they show up to my house. I would go to that concert. Hey, I didn't know I needed a break, but fate would have it otherwise. Says, maybe I'm going to Taylor Swift? For sure would. I 100% would be like, hey, I did buy those. Here's my real address. And then when those people show up, I'm like, nope. I would make sure I'm the first one into. So when they scan my ticket, that's it. When they scan that one behind me, they're like, no, you're already in. And then they purposely get booted. 100%, without a doubt, I would be going to that Taylor Swift concert. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Do all the cool things. Follow me. Either follow, subscribe, like. It does help me out a lot. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.